It's Filaments and Fibre with Steve Brooks and Stephanie Lester.
Otherwise known as Terry and June of the podcasting world.
Yes, Terry and June, the podcasting. We did a bit different this morning. We're sat in different places.
I know, a bit weird.
Just thought we'd sort of shake it up a bit.
You're sitting on a chair and I'm sitting on the sofa.
Yeah, we just moved around by 90 degrees, haven't we?
Yeah,
bit different. Well, you know, you got to.
I'm having to slightly turn my head to see.
And you had to lower your mic stand, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Because
and why is that, darling?
Because I'm on the cushion I normally sit in, and it's flatter because I've got a fat ass.
Well, there we are, folks. If you're new to listening, let's say to our new listeners, we've got fat ass over there.
That did just remind me of another thing, because before we come live on air, we always sit down and go, how much have you got on your list? And there's never much. And then we think of things as we go live.
Well, I have to have a bit of a list because this is basically what's happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yes. So, but we forget, obviously.
We forgot to do one last week.
Yes, well,
but we didn't.
Number one, we forgot. But no, that fat ass just made me suddenly think of when we were coming back from our walk the other day. And I have no idea what got us onto the conversation, but we were talking about the Olympics. We were talking about the Paralympics and the fact that it was over in a week. We missed it. We like watching the Olympics and the Paralympics. We like it all. And for some reason, and I can't remember why, but I decided to say the immortal words, I wonder if being fat qualifies you for being in the Paralympics.
That's the most un-PC thing. We haven't even on air a minute.
But you have to bear in mind, I am only referring to myself. I'm not referring to anybody else.
Don't keep it to yourself. About me, I'm not exactly no longer as slim Adonis that I used to be my heyday.
I'm just trying to find a way that I could enter some sort of, I think Paralympics tiddlywinks is about
I don't think you'll be
limit.
entering Darling as a sanatorium. Very quickly.
Indeed.
When the PC police come round after this show. So welcome everybody. We'll say an official welcome to this podcast. I am sorry it's a week overdue. I don't know why. Something happened last weekend that we were just too...
I can't even remember.
Oh, I know what happened last weekend. We were due to have a viewing on the Monday.
That's right.
And of course, with a house full of people like we've got, the house gets in a shitty mess. There's two of us here. You would think... Mind you, I will say it's mostly hoovering up fluff.
No, it's not. The fluff's all down the den now. You cannot blame.
That's got started.
You can't blame me for that because I am now limited to the den.
Yeah, I think we just keep it at you're now limited.
Yeah,
severely limited. Yeah, so we had a viewing on the Monday. Who didn't turn up? Bastards.
Well, no, to be fair, they cancelled. They didn't just not turn up.
Oh, yeah, they cancelled after driving past.
Well, I saw them.
They did a drive-past viewing and decided...
Well, it was classic, wasn't it? Because I was upstairs tidying and I looked out and I thought, oh, there's someone doing a bit of a slowdown. And they...
curb crawling past the house.
Not an elderly couple, but they were an older couple. And absolutely looking at house. Now, it could be that they just see the for sale sign and they're looking in. But I said to you, I came down and said, I swear that somebody did a bit of a, recce earlier. And then you looked on Yopa and basically pretty much 10 minutes after that happened, they cancelled. Because the thing is, this house looks very small from the outside. Well, it's like a TARDIS.
It's got a lovely curbside view because it's it looks like a little bungalow.
Yes.
With a dormer bungalow. But actually, we call it the TARDIS. Yeah, and people say, oh, yeah. When they come in, they say, oh, my God, it goes back forever,
But it's quite interesting that somebody actually took the trouble of driving past, but then didn't think it was worth. But we did send them the video of the house, so they did get a viewing. Yeah,
we got a little video that, in fact, anybody that wants to go and look at our video of the house,
they're very welcome.
We're welcome. Yeah. No idea how we just look for.
It's on my.
Is it on your two-teat?
No, it's on my Stephanie Lester one.
On Stephanie Lester, Stephanie-Lester, or just Stephanie Lester?
Stephanie Lester Artist.
Stephanie Lester Artist YouTube
channel,
and you'll see me and Steph showing a virtual showing of the house. Yeah, we're talking to camera saying, welcome to our house.
Yeah, and all that marvellous.
Yeah, so we still haven't sold.
Anyway,
we had a nice couple come round yesterday.
We did. We had a lovely viewing, but it's not for them.
It's not for them.
But they needed to amend.
It's an unusual house in that it's very lot of rooms. Some people like open plan these days, don't they?
I think there's two different types which would actually like our house. One is either family because that's how it's been for many years, is with young family, because brilliant thing is all the kids can be upstairs and you can have your room and your own bathroom and everything downstairs, which is perfect in my mind. And then it's very adaptable with all the rooms that we've got and playhouses and things down the thing. Or it's an elderly couple with grandchildren and want people to come and stay. So equally, you've got your own living quarters and everything downstairs and up. But so far, everybody wants to do lots of changes to the upstairs, which, to be honest, I would probably do.
But you said you can put all the kids upstairs. You even put a large stair gate on so they can't get out.
Yes.
They can't get down, and we can just sit in your room here, lock the door and have your gym.
The right ones will come along and snap it up.
Oh, yeah, so I'm sure. So that's why, in a long-rooted reason why we didn't do
because we were busy tidying up for our guests.
Which means we haven't done a podcast since we did our first ever contemporary art show.
Yes.
No, see that's it. We did. Are we sure we haven't?
We did it just before saying we were going, didn't we?
Did we? I can't remember. Oh God, I'm terrible.
Well, what date was it that we did the show?
The 3rd and 4th of March.
Yeah, so we can't possibly, if we haven't done a
thing
for 3 weeks.
Steph's looking at her phone to see if we can't even remember we did the last.
I'm actually looking at the calendar
terrible.
Thinking, oh my God.
This is awful.
Who are you? Yeah,
this is anyway. No. We haven't done one. If we have, then please write into the above address and tell us we have. Anyway,
no, we haven't.
We haven't done one. Right? Okay, so it went very well.
Loved it.
It was a lovely show.
Absolutely,
it was a great show. It was a great show. We both, the first time we'd both attended as exhibitors to a contemporary art fair. It was the first on
many levels, wasn't it? It was the first time we both attended. It was the first time we didn't either share a stand or have a stand next to each other.
Thank God.
As I said, you sort of purloined your way onto my stand right at the very start. This is the first time I've managed to get rid of you.
Not just next door, but completely different row, almost in a different show.
But in all seriousness, it was actually really good, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, it's about time you stood on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, well, to be honest, no, I mean, and you say that, but to be honest, I did leave a lot of the selling to you. Because when we do stuff, like when we've done shows or anything like this, you've very much been the front person, front of house. If we ran a pub, you'd be front of house and I'd be behind the bar, wouldn't I? I'd be Bet Lynch.
You'd be Bet Lynch with you. Be Pat Butcher.
Pat Butcher.
Because you got a Pat Butcher. We're going to say Pat Butcher is an EastEnders character. EastEnders is a soap opera in the United Kingdom. Pat Butcher used to wear this leopard skin coat. And guess who's got one exactly the same?
No, I haven't. I've got a cardi.
A long cardi. Looks like, I call her Pat Butcher.
You always say Pat Butcher. But so we would
you'll be behind the bar pulling your pints.
But anyway, got off subject. So when we do shows and things, it's very much that way. So even when we had stands next to each other, I'd be demoing and chatting and you'd be very much, coming around and selling.
Yeah, I'd be trying to sell your stuff.
So it was quite nice for the first time in a long time, thinking I've actually got to be the front person of my own thing, and I really enjoyed it.
But you're okay with that?
Oh, I loved it.
2 years ago, you wouldn't have been.
No.
2 years ago, you wouldn't even let me point a camera at you.
No, I still would have sat behind a desk probably 2 years ago.
So it was good. No,
I loved it.
It was good. You had sales. You had a lot of interest. First time that they'd seen fibre sculpture at the show. The first time they'd seen lamps at the show like mine. I did make a sale from the day, but it was just afterwards, and I had 2 or 3 commissions at least come through.
But I think the lovely thing about it was everybody was there to come to an art fair. So number one, they were everyone was very happy that they were there because they deliberately come there. Unless you were like one of the 5-year-old children.
They weren't just walking past.
It wasn't like how many times have we been to an event where people go, I didn't know it was here, and they're walking past, or they're just miserable because they've been dragged there. But these are people who've deliberately come to an art fair. They've got plenty of opportunity to sit down, have lunch, have coffee, come round again, see friends, all that. So there's that general buzz of
and they've also got that lovely phrase, isn't it? Disposable income.
Well, people came, and I heard on one occasion where someone was looking at one of my pieces and her friend said, now, you came to buy a picture. But what the important thing was that you came to buy. So, now they know, well, me being there and you being there, next time they'll say, you came to buy a sculpture.
Yes.
Or you came to buy a lamp. But it's that you came to buy. What a fabulous phrase.
It is lovely, yeah. And, I mean, I'm going to have my little say now. I still look at some other exhibitors that grumble and moan about the shows, and you look at them on their stand, and I mean, we are naturally happy people. No matter what's going on in our lives, we're happy people.
We'll see the good side.
We see the good side of everything. Glass half full, and glass is overflowing nearly always with us. You know, it's not to do with we've made loads of sales. It's that we love being there. We're grateful that we're there. Yeah. We're grateful that we're able to make the things we do.
We're there to meet and chat to people. So it doesn't matter. I mean, everybody loves a sale, but it doesn't matter that you're not selling, because you were there to tell people about what you do, to give out your brochures, to hopefully get people follow you and everything.
But there are some exhibitors that just look as though they've got face like a smacked arse, for starters.
The telling point for me isn't that we think that.
No.
It's the fact that I'm chatting away to people, and then I always say, because quite often people will come back to you, don't they? Yeah. And you go, have you enjoyed the show? And they say, I've loved it, but there are some really miserable people who are on their phones. And you go, what? Exhibitors? And they're like, yeah. And these are people visiting who have come to buy art, who are making those comments. And that's sad.
And it's because these exhibitors probably have had not the best of days. They haven't sold the piece they thought they were going to sell. But instead of being upbeat and thinking, no, we haven't sold it yet.
It's all the expectations, the management of expectations, isn't it? I didn't go there with the expectation of selling masses of art. You always hope
you wanted to introduce more people to sculpting, to fibre sculpture.
My big letdown of myself, which I will be ready. Katie was ahead of me this time. She actually had her so people could sign up to her newsletter there and then.
Right.
Didn't have. Mind you, I had a very small stand, but I think this time what I might do is do little postcards that people can fill their name in and put it in.
Yeah, because we're back there in September, aren't we?
Yes,
we booked. I think with a lot of these new shows, you've got to give it 2 or 3 attempts before you decide whether it's a good show for you. And I think even based on the first show we've done, we think it is going to be the show for us, or a show for us.
Sometimes shows just have a really good feel and we really enjoy them. And like one of the reasons we do MK all the time, because I think these days you have had a more successful show than I have. But I love doing the show, and I do still have enough of it.
I think it was well organised. We have successes based on not just sales; it's the rapport you have.
It's a weekend away.
It's a weekend away, which you don't get very often. And access to the racecourse was great. The staff was great.
Oh, I have to say though, we will say about. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, entrance was good. Exit at the end of the show for us wasn't so good.
No, well, let me first of all start about the entrance, which is, but the entrance we picked, because we didn't have the way of the land, was we thought was the best one.
It's closer to my stand.
Closer to your stand, and you had the more to unload. But being a race course, it was basically where the grandstand, where people would stand, so it was on a slope. So basically we were pushing a trolley up a slope. Well, I was pushing the trolley up the slope. It. You were kind of pulling and steering.
Yeah.
But I, was so, which meant at the end of the day, I had calf muscles like a bloody racehorse. Didn't I? I mean, basically,
which is quite
appropriate.
Yes.
But anyway,
I'm going to the first bench now. It's Steph in the lead now, and coming on the rails. It's Steph's thighs in the lead.
Very appropriate. Yep. But also, we then realised that there was a door close to where my stand was, which seemed to be flat. And we went, oh, actually, it
would have been easier.
It would have been easier, but so we made sure that when we took the stand down, that was where we parked. So I didn't have to go up, and because when we take our stand down, I have to load the truck because Steve takes a long time to put his lap.
Yeah,
but on this occasion, I loaded it twice.
Yeah, you just thought, well, it's all loaded now. Tell you what, I'll unload it and do it again.
I'm going to do it again. It's like Tetris. Hilarious.
As with most shows, we're always the last to leave, and we were definitely the last person out. Yeah. And you know that because the what do you call them? Contractors are there taking the shell schemes down,
and they're apologising to you as they take the stand down.
And everything around us is gone, and just our stands are the ones left as I'm still wrapping up my lamps.
Yeah.
So it was verging on darkness when we left.
It was dark,
And now this time we hadn't got the box trailer on, because we've got a very big box trailer which we put on the back of the Land Rover. Yeah. And that's so easy to steer. It's a four-wheel trailer, and you can steer it. This time we opted, because we didn't need to take so much stuff,
just a little
we opted for a little 2-wheeled trailer, which we've got another trailer with a lid. And, that's got a mind of its own.
I mean, before you get to that part...
Yes.
So we've set ourselves up. We've set ourselves up, And we thought, we'll go to check into the hotel because there's the private view at 6 o'clock and it's sort of 4 o'clock, isn't it? So we thought we'd go off, get changed, come back. And we said to the security people, we're going to leave the trailer here and take... So I don't know why you have it in your head.
Well, okay, this is the thing. I thought the car park that we were in by the side of the grandstand, people were still arriving, so I thought, I need to put the trailer out of the way.
That was your phrase, out of the way.
Out of the way. So down at the bottom of the car park, nearest the race course itself, was a strip of grass. Now, I'd forgotten...
But the thing was, I couldn't quite understand, because there was actually a bit of tarmac next to the strip of grass.
I just put it on the grass. I put it on the grass because I thought it's out the way. If anybody needs to park on the tarmac, my little trailer is on the grass. Now, I'd forgotten that any blade of grass at a race course, whether it's on the track, anywhere, is sacrosanct. Yes. It is absolutely, So
the hilarious part is we obviously unhitched it, put it there, got in the car, buggered off to the hotel, got back within half an hour of the show opening, and as we arrived back, there was a tannoy going, "Hello everybody, blah 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 blah," and an important announcement: somebody has parked their trailer on the grass. The organisers or the owners are really unhappy about this. Will you please move it? To which you went, "Yeah, do it later." And I was like, no. I mean, they've just put an announcement over. I think you need to do it now. And you were like, really?
God, yeah.
So anyway, we turned round, went straight out. I mean, because it was movable by hand.
Oh, you could just shove it along.
I mean, they could have moved it, to be honest.
They could.
But anyway,
we
went down, and it was right next to a piece of tarmac.
So it was like 2 feet.
2 feet
away.
We moved it.
And the grass it was on wasn't even special grass. But to them,
doesn't matter. And to be honest, you did have to drive over the grass to, in fact, park the trailer there in the first place.
I didn't know.
The tyre tracks are still there. Anyway, so we moved it. And we came back in and everything, and that was it. Good to go. And then I went round to see one of my friends, and she was doing a live, to which she was saying on live, "My God, someone's actually parked their trailer on the live." And I was like, on the grass. I was like, oh God, that was me, Wendy. That was us. We did that. So I spent the whole weekend apologising to everybody. I'm so sorry, that was us and our trailer. I'm so sorry.
We are allowed back, by the way.
We're
still allowed back.
Thank God.
So we came to leave at sort of, what time was it? 8 o'clock?
Probably.
8 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock. Yeah. Dark.
It was dark.
We hitched up the trailer, which was now on the tarmac, and when where we were in the race.
Well, also you need to understand that we'd never come out that way before.
No. We'd driven in that way, yeah.
And secondly, we were chatting because we were now leaving. And when you're chatting, your mind's not really on the job, is it?
No.
And you were driving and talking at the same time. So basically,
we drove. I drove past the turning around the side of the building, and I kept going on this track. And we're getting closer.
And the thing is, you were showing what's his names were stopping, and we started getting onto what I will call the kind of muddy ground which has a topping on.
Yeah.
That horses go on. And I just said,
before we went to the race course,
I said, stop. And you were like, what? I said, just stop. I think we're about to go on the racetrack.
We were about to literally drive
on the bloody
And it wouldn't
racetrack.
be so bad. The problem would have been the water jump, I think.
Yes.
I think that would have been the issue.
And all of the staff chasing us round.
God, can you imagine? There would have been somebody watching on CCTV somewhere.
But there was also a very hilarious scene after that. Because the thing was, where we were, because you can imagine it's just for horses to go to, so it's not exactly a room for manoeuvring,
not to turn Land Rover and trailer
with a trailer. So I got out in my mind to show you where you could reverse back. You just kept going forward.
Well, I was trying to find somewhere to turn round into.
Oh my God!
To reverse back into.
I'm going, what the hell are you doing? And you was like, well, I'm just trying to find somewhere to turn around. Just reverse, and then.
And of course, this trailer in reverse, you've got to get it absolutely spot on.
So you were
any tiny movement of the steering wheel, and it kicks back. It walks a dog.
And I kept saying, "What are you doing?" And you then started shouting.
I forget what I said, but it was.
What you actually said was, "It's really difficult to reverse this. Why don't you come and do it?" And I think you were just about to actually sort of get out the car and almost do the.
I might have been.
And I, at this point, thought, I'm just going to remain where I am and wait for you to.
I thought I said this is going to take some time.
Then I said, could you? You said, what do you want me to do? I said, could you just reverse back straight? And you went, yes. it's going to take me some time. And I was like, okay then. It was hilarious. I mean, what I loved the idea was that we were on someone's CCTV and they were having hilarious.
You can imagine the two guys sat in the control booth somewhere. The security guys, hey, Harry, come look at this.
What are they doing?
What are they doing?
She's now got out of the car.
She's getting out of the car. She's going to walk away. No, she's not. She's staying. He's getting out of the car. No, he's not. He's And then we eventually reversed back and we laughed.
Oh, we did.
Because the thing we don't do is argue, is continue any argument.
No. We say what we feel, we move on.
Move on. And we did. We moved on to the racecourse. Yes, we managed to avoid that final move onto the racecourse at Sandown.
But it was hilarious.
It was funny. Yeah. It was really funny. But of course, they have fanboys.
You do?
Yeah, I have a couple of gentlemen who were at the show. One was the husband of one of your colleagues, your art colleagues, who was helping his wife on her stand.
Well, he was the main sales.
And the other one was a Welsh artist called the Welsh Artist.
Yeah.
There was Tony and I think it was Jeff, and they are so into fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah.
And they seemed to cotton on to the fact that I'd got these lamps that could be made into anything.
I thought they were being kind.
I'd got the Jedi and I showed them Darth Vader and these two men were just putty in my hands.
They were jumping up and down.
Oh, literally. They kept coming back to my stand.
Yeah. And the thing is, excuse me, I'm just going to cough. I came up to mine and was saying, obviously, that they liked your lamps. And I genuinely just thought, oh, how sweet, how supportive. They're just being kind to us. But genuinely, it wasn't until Wendy came round and said, oh, my God, my husband won't bloody leave your husband alone. And by the way, they think he looks like Terry Pratchett.
Yes, that was the thing. They thought I looked like Terry Pratchett, who was the author of Discworld. Yeah. Because I've got me fedora hat on and I've got my beard.
I can see why they. I just have never thought it myself, but I can see where.
I straight away looked at a picture of Terry Pratchett. Oh my God, I do look like Terry Pratchett.
There we go. So
that sort of made them sort of.
It was good fun though.
It was great fun.
Yeah.
So from that, I've got two commissions to do. From that, one of Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. The other one is a scene from. The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit with the giant spider about to attack the hobbits and. Yeah, so I've got those to do. So that was brilliant. But thank you to Tony and Jeff.
That was brilliant.
For coming along and seeing me at the show.
But no, we did basically really enjoy it. We set ourselves up differently, and we can't wait to go back in September. And all our artist friends who came and saw us, we all went out for the night, had a fabulous evening. But what was also great was, like as Sammy was saying, from her point of view, she's been to this show many times before as a visitor. And always loved it, but she said this time she felt it was the best. It was a great buzz, and it was such lovely room to go round and manoeuvre and see everything. So how lovely from hearing that from visitors as well.
We had nothing to compare it to.
No,
we just loved it. Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah. And we'll be allowed back, I think, by the organisers, which is more than you probably will be on Instagram one of these days if you don't stop your. We was just before the show actually. I did an interview. I was interviewed by the lovely Sammy Haxter Andrews. About my lamps, and you were watching at the time. Yeah,
I was watching live, joining in the banter as we do, and you said something like, "Oh, we get a bit punchy."
Me and you,
on our podcast. I said, "Well, I punch you," and I typed it in, obviously. And I immediately was kicked out by Instagram, and I received a message saying abusive behaviour, aggressive behaviour will not be tolerated. I then had to sign an agreement before they let me back in.
You wouldn't punch me ever again.
Basically, I would read their rules. But it's not just that.
No.
Now, every live on Facebook and Instagram I go on, I have to click this thing to say I agree
to their community guidelines.
And I don't know how long. Although I say this, at least they've let me in because Cindy and Mac were saying in different groups that they've been in Cindy's case, where they're cutting out paper things and they're actually cutting off the heads of things. And of course, they're referring to cutting off the heads, and they get all this.
Oh no!
And people get thrown out and not allowed on. God. And in Mac's case, she was one of the sort of administrators in a group, and because she was obviously commenting and encouraging people, she then got blocked because basically it was like, you're doing too much. You're not allowed to do this. So at least I wasn't kicked out. At least I can just click a thing.
You can go back in, but you have to
I don't know how long this is going to last, that I have to keep... every time it's only when I go live, I have to click this thing.
Well, you threatened to punch me, which I think it was a terrible thing to do.
Oh, my God. Well, I didn't threaten to. I said that's what I do.
Well, yeah, so you weren't threatening, you were doing it.
I was saying...
Just commenting on what happens. What I do anyway. Oh. The exciting thing for us at the moment is Sumo's back.
Yes.
Now, just to put this into context, I have always loved sumo wrestling. I've never taken part in it, but I've always loved watching it. Before I met you. And then in the latter years, I've said, I found a station, Japanese station, on the television from which we can watch sumo. And you went, okay.
Whatever. No, I said, no, I'm not watching it.
Not watching it. And then...
And you recorded it all and said, I'll watch this all when you've gone to bed or whatever. Yeah.
And then one day you happened to be sat there.
It was a lunchtime. You said, could I just watch a bit of sumo?
So I put it on and you loved it.
Oh, I was just... It's
the ritual, isn't it?
It's all the rituals and the names and the different characters. It's just amazing.
How they give their whole lives to the sumo. It's not just a sport, it's a way of life. Yes. And it's beautiful the way the whole thing...
And the ranks and how they're expected to behave outside of the ring.
And the deities that they think are watching over the... So it's all very good. Yeah. And we watched it avidly. Some 6 times a year, every couple of months, there's a new tournament which is called a basho, and we watched it. And then when lockdown came, the first lockdown in 2020, they weren't allowed to have any audience members in, so it was very different.
Yeah, and they weren't. I don't think they even filmed it live, did they?
No, it was.
But this now is the first time it's been allowed.
So we haven't watched it, have we? We sort of went off it because a part of it is the audience participation, the audience sort
because in Japan, what I love is when a lower ranked wrestler, Rishi, beats a high ranked one. It's like a big thing. They get a gold star, which is like a huge, and it's money, and they get money per month for the rest of their life because of it. Yeah. So
a lot of money.
Something that the Japanese, when they're actually they have little red cushions that they sit on. And the audience are not allowed to sort of cheer or do anything. But what they do, not this time because of COVID, but prior to COVID, they would throw these cushions in the air, which is not allowed.
No,
but it's like... It's the equivalent of having like a crowd rush, I suppose, or something. But in Japan, I love the fact that that's rebellious. Yeah, that they've thrown their red cushion in the air in support of this.
And it's lovely to see, and it is thousands and thousands of people at these tournaments. Red cushion in the air. When the
I mean, they catch it again and sit back down on it. I mean, but
which I think is a feat in itself.
Yes,
that's going to be a sport.
But I love anything where. That's just a known, rebellious behaviour. Love it.
So we loved it before. We didn't watch it for a couple of years. We started watching it again now.
Yes.
The basho started last weekend. Now we record it and we watch it avidly. Because when we watched it before, it was the way that we settled any disputes in the kitchen, wasn't it? This is absolutely genuine. If we'd got a dispute in the kitchen, Steph and I was the only place we got the room, we used to have our own, what they call our own tachiai, which is the start of the bout where the sumo wrestlers get...
Well, the thing is, the start, quite often there's just a big crashing together of bodies. But sometimes, because Hakuho used to do this occasionally, didn't he? Instead of doing the bashing towards, the person comes towards you and you slap their face.
Yeah.
Don't you?
So we used to do this in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's the two of us. Well, you used to get one side and I used to get the other.
Yeah.
And we used to sort of stamp our feet. Yeah. And rush at each other, and then you just whack the shit out of me, And at one time I went ploughing into the microwave.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that's the way we settled our disputes, by doing a sumo wrestling. Let's face it, we're approaching the sort of stature.
I think I'm almost up to Yokozuna level, I feel.
Which, folks, is the highest level of sumo wrestling you can get. So there we are. So just that's a little bit for you to just pause now while you mentally image Steph and I in hammer washes, which are the little nappies
they wear.
No, we didn't get that far. Zooming across the kitchen, whacking into each other.
But we don't have to wear fat suits to do it.
No, we don't. Not anymore. Well, yeah, because I bought recently. There's somebody that I follow on Instagram, a wonderful English lady called Eloise Head, and she goes by the name of Fit Waffle.
Oh, yes.
She's a baker. She just loves to bake. It's always sweet goods. It's always does cakes and
But she's a stick
pastry.
insect, isn't she?
She is. God knows how she stays. She must have a problem.
She probably just makes them for everybody else.
But she's a superb cook, and she brought out her first book called Baking Easy, and
she basically melted chocolate on anything.
Yeah.
So,
there's a bit more to it than that.
There is.
So basically, her USP is they're 3 and 4 ingredient bakes, and you very rarely use the oven. Basically, like the one I did yesterday. Okay, yesterday
was it melted chocolate over Rice Krispies?
Yeah, it was. Let me big it up a bit, will you? It's not just quite the same as that.
It is.
And we have all this arrive, all the chocolates, and I say to you, no,
God,
no, you don't touch any of it.
No, but what's even more hilarious because you bought these jumbo packs of Snickers, chocolate, and all the and Belgian, no
a kilo,
minor thing,
a kilo of Belgian white chocolate drops.
And so he bought this big and he said, "Don't, you're not allowed to attack the chocolate. It's for cooking." He now has basically a whole shelf of chocolate, which apparently is for cooking.
Must be awful for you.
No, not really, because I just take them. Because, as you said the other day, it was hilarious because I said, "Oh, I saw this Snicker box, which God knows how many.
It's had 40.
Okay, so I just saw it had been opened and there was some missing, and I just assumed you'd bought a cheap box which already had some missing. And I said to you, "Oh, I noticed there's a box, there's 6 of them missing." To which alarm bells went off in your head because you'd only used 5.
I used 5.
Yeah, and apparently, unbeknownst to me, the moment I walked out the back door down the den, he ran into the kitchen to count the Snickers to see if another one had been taken. I mean, the only person who could have taken it was me, basically.
Yeah, I'm gone.
So what you were going to do if I'd eaten a Snickers bar? And then you said, "I count them, and I said, "Really? Why is that then?" And you went, "Because I'll know." And I was like, "And?" Because oh, the big count. Oh, Steph's going to be... I mean, what?
The recipe that I did yesterday, basically you take 5 Snicker bars, you chop them into little tiny bits, you put them in a saucepan, okay? You melt them down with 2 tablespoons of honey, okay? Melt them all down. Takes a few minutes, keep stirring. Then you get a bowl and you put 150 grams of Rice Krispies.
No, it's cornflakes actually, wasn't it?
No, Rice Krispies. Into which you pour... Over the Rice Krispies, you pour this melted Snickers and honey. You mix it all so it's like a caramelised goo. You then spread that on the bottom of a baking tray, an 8-inch square baking tray. Okay, push it down with the back of a spoon till it's nice and solid. Then, then you get 400 grams of milk chocolate. It could be drops, it could be a bar. Melt that gently in the microwave, every 30 seconds stirring until you've got a lovely melted Belgian chocolate, which you then pour over the Snickers and Rice Krispie mix in the bottom of the tray. You then get another Snickers, chop it into bits. So there was 4 you used. The 5th one, you chop it up and you sprinkle it over the top. You put the whole thing in the fridge for 3 hours.
So,
and it is
Sammy,
absolutely
as the
gorgeous.
Baking expert who loves to bake, that is melted chocolate over Rice Krispies. I mean, I just want her confirmation on that.
It's bloody nice, though, isn't it?
It was bloody nice, but it is still, in my
fact,
mind...
we can have one in a minute as soon as we finish this.
Because a lot of them are done in a mug and shoved in the microwave. Yeah. It's just all melted, basically.
Yeah, but
shove stuff in a mug and shove it in the microwave.
Yeah, but it's just a quick way of making...
Look, I'm not moaning, because basically, I just eat the Snickers bar. But if you want to...
you can't.
If you want to put it over...
It's when I came back from Waitrose last week and I had 3 packets of Oreos and
that was not to be eaten, Steph.
No,
and I said,
marshmallows.
What do you mean it's not to be eaten? So basically, it's
They're
not to be eaten
ingredients.
until I've smashed it up, put it in a mug and heated it up in the microwave, and then you can eat it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I've prepared it for you. Lovingly prepared it for you. Okay. You're not eating the raw material. It's like eating, a raw egg and
you said,
a spoonful of flour.
It's baking chocolate. I said, I can.
that's like...
And you said, what, raw? I was like... Yeah, it's not raw.
Let's say to you can't drink that Prosecco because the bottle's not open.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not happening.
Okay. So, going back to Sumo briefly, you've got a wonderful way, because some of the names we can't pronounce, can we?
Hilarious.
So, apologies in advance for any Japanese listeners to this podcast. I think we're banned in Japan
there's
already.
one particular name that I say that makes you laugh every time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's... It's...
It's a hell of a name,
I'm sorry, Japan. Please, we want to visit you one day.
But the thing is, it's just such a... so there's that name, which is incredibly long, and you can only imagine how it's written. And then somebody else is Abby.
Yeah, ABI. Yeah, I mean, that's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's just like... But we have some favourites.
We have some favourites. We've got, and we give them our own names.
Oh, we do.
We've got,
and once again, Japan. Please turn off at this point.
There's Takakeisho. We've got. And
we love Toshinoshin.
Toshinoshin, the Georgian. Ikenojo.
Who's the Mongolian.
The huge Mongolian, as the guy on the telly, the Mongolian behemoth.
Yes.
Behemoth.
Yeah. And then there's Aola.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Aoyama.
Yeah, Aoyama.
Which has the most enormous... breasts. I mean,
I have to say to you, ladies, that if you had breasts like this, you would be going to the doctors to have them checked.
Yeah,
because they don't look healthy.
They don't,
do they? I mean, they're just. I can barely look at him because it's not.
I mean, most of them have got a lot of.
They're all big.
But this guy,
and some are muscular and some aren't. But this guy's body just. I mean, and he's a really successful sumo wrestler, so I'm sure he's very fit and everything. Really, they just look unhealthy.
He wins most bouts because he closes people in and they just suffocate. But they are enormous, you know.
Yeah.
But the Kakeyasu is the one we like, and we call him Uberman, Uber driver, because he looks like an Uber driver.
Oh, he's so
laid back. Whatever.
He goes whatever.
Yeah.
He's got that look, hasn't he? And at the start of that, one of the things in the routine is they throw salt, which is to get the evil spirits gone. And he throws it very much sort of like whatever, throws it in the air.
He's doing well in this tournament.
Yeah, and he and I don't know if this will come across, but it's all very.
Yeah.
You get that sort of.
Looking at, he's very hairy as well, isn't he? Which is unusual for a sumo wrestler.
Because he's half Philippines.
Yeah, half Filipino, yeah. So if any of you have never watched sumo wrestling and you want to have a little go, it's called NHK TV.
You forgot about the other nickname.
What?
Pig Boy.
I was hoping you wouldn't. Come on, we've gone too far already. Because we sit here and we comment on these athletes, and they are athletes. They have to be for what they can do.
They give up their whole life to this.
Yeah, but
and we're very bad. We just
Chipolata and
Pig Boy. Yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah, so it's not nice, but we enjoy. If you want to check out Sumo, it's on It's on channel 625 on any of them, which is NHK TV Japan, and it's on at the moment. But they show its highlights. Another week of the March Bash show to go. So there we are. We also love our crime dramas now.
Oh, we do.
We love our criminal intent and law and order and everything else. But what they seem to have done at the moment, they seem to have changed. When they introduce any programme and there's something in it they want to report.
It makes me laugh with something like criminal intent, and they sort of do there may be scenes of a violent nature.
Yeah.
Well, it's called criminal intent,
I know,
so it kind of got the
But
gist.
the one that got us the other day was the following programme will contain blood.
Yeah, I know.
That was it. Just that.
Yes. I mean, there was what got me on that as well, because that seemed a really odd statement. But it didn't even say there's violence and blood.
No, it's just blood.
It was just blood. So no violence, just a bit of blood.
Just blood, yeah. it could have been a whole sort of 40 minutes of a blood donating group. Yeah. You know, that could have been it. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was
NHS.
Maybe it was NHS A&E. That's where the crime happened. You know, someone pinched a plasma.
Oh my God!
Bucket. Oh, I don't know.
We came up with our own.
So we thought, okay, in today's day and age, there should be programmes that meet everybody's criteria. And we thought,
for instance, before this show, there should be a huge lot of warnings.
Oh God! There? I mean, we could do a whole podcast of the warnings about this show.
Yeah.
Right, next time there'll be some warnings.
This podcast may contain.
Yes. God, I'll do that next time. But we thought it'd be great if there were We're going to offend people
Well,
now.
yeah. Prepare yourselves.
Prepare yourselves.
Yeah.
We thought there might be vegan versions of crime dramas.
Yes.
So this next programme might involve gentle insults.
Yes.
Or a bit of slapping.
If you're easily offended, please don't watch.
The following programme will contain scenes of raised eyebrows. So we're only having a laugh, folks. We're only having a laugh.
The following show contains sneers.
Yes. Bit of sarcasm.
Yeah. Oh, no. And that, Alana Morissette,
is ironic, yes. One thing I found out for the last couple of weeks, you don't like me showing you videos of cats on Instagram.
Oh, my God. No, firstly, it's videos of anything. So you could be quite innocently having breakfast, watching the telly, doing something on the computer. I could be doing any of these things. And for some reason, you think I want to be interrupted. I want to be interrupted with you turning your phone up to full volume because you're deaf. And then you play. And it could be many things, but your current issue or your current obsession is bloody cat videos.
Oh,
we have cats.
I know.
I have had many cats in the whole of my life. We have 2 cats at the moment. If I want to actually have a real love-in with, I'll just go and see my cat.
But some of these are so cute. There was a cat with a little mouse running under it and pulling it.
Yes, but you play it 6 times.
Yeah, well, you don't look the first 5.
Oh, I do, but it was enough. I've looked, I've seen, I've moved on, and you're still watching it. I mean, I do wonder about you sometimes. I mean, what was it I used to... I'm trying to think of the word I used to call you now.
Oh, can you say it on here?
Oh, my Lord. I'm trying to think. It was...
You used to call me the C word. You say you're charismatic.
Yeah, I did not. I'm trying... Because you just used to... even when you know that you don't need to say something...
Yeah.
Oh, what's the one when people swear all the time? Not Steph.
Oh, Tourette's.
Tourette's.
Oh,
I was going to say you've got pedantry Tourette's. Because even when you know you really don't need to say something, you will say something like, yeah, I'd watch that because there's water on the floor. You know, when I'm standing in a lot of water because clearly I know. And I just...
Yeah, because you've made the mess in the first place.
Pedantry Tourette's. But anyway...
Fuck off.
What subject were we on then? I got completely distracted.
We were thrusting videos of cats into your face.
God. But you do just thrust, but you don't just thrust it once. I don't have to. You try and play it in my face 10 times. So what? At some point, I have to say, fuck off, basically, to get you to go. And you look at me like I was only sharing.
Yes.
I was in the middle of writing an email, or I was in the middle of doing an update on the computer.
Other times, if you want to convey your annoyance, you will make gestures to me. And the other day in the kitchen, I don't know what I'd said to you.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I'd said to you, but you turn around, you put 2 V's up to me on both hands,
yes,
and
so you
frantically gave me the
so
2 fingers.
Me standing, but with my arms, the top half of my arms next to my sides, and from my elbow, my arms are up flapping, but with the V sign in the very rude way round. So I'm flapping, basically. To which your response was, "Oh my God, you look like a spastic goose trying to fly." So that's it, really. From now on, that's.
But then you do it when you're going down the garden. You did it, and then the neighbours could see and everything.
They can't see into our garden.
Well, then you never know. They might be on a stepladder looking over the fence. And I said to you, and you turned around and did it yesterday.
Oh, because you said the most cretinous thing. It's like I was saying to the girls the other day that Sammy did a brilliant live.
Oh, she did. I love that.
Yes, because she interviewed lots of people. And funny enough, you said to me, it's about time we see something about Sammy. And funny enough, Sammy did her live about her own process. And bearing in mind, listeners, I had got in the car and driven to the storage unit, which you can barely even receive texts in. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I did have to communicate with you because I couldn't get in. Mm-hmm. And I had to actually leave the storage unit in order to... Yeah. Mm. So I've been up there for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. I've then driven back home, got in, and the first thing you say to me is, "Have you watched Sammy's live?"
Well, I don't know whether you...
I was in the bloody storage unit where you can't receive text. What do you think?
I was excited about it because it was brilliant.
But to me, that's just cretinous. I mean, and that's where...
To me, I just wanted to make sure you didn't lose out on something.
No, you didn't. You were like a bloody 13-year-old schoolgirl, I tell you, where you're stuck going, oh,
really?
Yeah, I know. So quite often, as I'm going down to the den, as I'm leaving the house, you say one of these cretinous comments, and that's when I do the spastic goose, basically. Yeah.
So there we are.
Yeah.
So I think we've had a world record today for the amount of divisions of the world we have offended. Different people. Well,
there's a few people I haven't offended.
No, we'll save it. There's plenty of time.
Okay.
So that's it. So that's basically, if you're new to this is what we spend our life doing.
But have we spoken much about our art?
No, we did at the start. That's enough. That's enough. It's the longest podcast ever.
Is it?
Yes.
How long?
45 minutes.
Wow.
So.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologise.
Yeah, it's your fault. It's spastic goose.
Spastic goose.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for listening wherever you are in the world. Hope you've enjoyed this. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time with more just snippets from our life. And as always, this is an unedited podcast. It is live. It is...
and next time we'll talk about the Bloom Show.
Oh, yeah, the Bloom Show. Nothing's been taken away. Nothing's been added.
No,
just
us.
Just us.
Unfiltered.
Yep. 2 old fogies and a bit
What's
of tech.
The milk that's unfiltered? Cravendale. The Cravendale of podcasts.
Cravendale. Cravendale, if you're listening, that's another tenner you could send us. We've mentioned you once. We've already lost our major sponsorship.
Yeah.
Which was... We never got sponsored by Nobbies, the Underpants people, did we? Did we mention them enough?
Are we surprised?
No. Load of bollocks, really, isn't it?
Oh!
So, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night. That was Filaments and Fibre with Steve Brooks and Stephanie Lester.
And here's Steve Brooks coming up to the water jump.